I'm sitting alone in my loft at this moment, at my computer, staring out the window, gazing at the empty view, watching the endless column of noxious smoke that rises eastward, mingling this morning with the mist and the rain. The cloud is so dense I can almost fantasize it's one of those days where the mist covers the Twin Towers. My view, my city, my life. In 1988, when the kids had just turned 2, we broke through the south wall of the building, bringing light into this part of the loft for the first time. Since we put in the window and moved our bed in here, I have gone to sleep and woken up with my view of the Twin Towers. I have marveled at them during sunrise, with flashes of light reflecting off hundreds of window panes, during sunsets that change from orange to red to violet. I have watched in awe during lightning storms, brilliant blue skies, mist and fog, moonlit nights. Only now when I look out and see nothing but a column of thick smoke or a blank and vacant sky, I sense that whenever I turn my head toward the window, for a long, long time, perhaps for the rest of my life, I will remember the blue skies of last Tuesday morning, as I again gazed out the window at the Twin Towers while dressing for work. It was a rare, clear, and beautiful fall day in a city that can be gray and hazy. I can still hear Don's voice from the other room saying, "Why is that plane flying so low? They shouldn't let planes fly that low." I hear the rumbling of the plane's motor. I watch almost without knowing what I'm looking at, as the impact slices a hole the shape of an airplane in the tower, as flames burst out at the impact point. In disbelief, I break into hysterical weeping. I focus on lives ended in a split second, people who just got to work sitting at their desks. With my videomaker's instinct, I run and grab my camera, set it up at the window. I tape the whole thing.
That something.
You see that explosion?
Something blew up inside the building.
The other building, big blow up. Big blow up like a bomb.
The one next door to it?
Yeah. Now, come here, you can see it.
Oh, I see it. Now something fell on.
Blew up.
Oh, shit. It's a bomb then.
But
Then I think the plane's a suicide bomber.
I think it's a terrorist thing. It's got to be that guy. First plane went in. A lot.
Well, they can't get the fire any. It's spreading, I'm sure.
The South Tower collapses during the 30 seconds it takes me to change tapes. I look up into a cloud of dust, and the building is gone. Don goes out to get Sam at Stuyvesant when the announcement is made that parents can pick up their children, because I'm too hysterical. He witnesses a second collapse from the street, 3 blocks away, people fleeing all around him. Miraculously, he finds Sam in a sea of stunned students evacuating the school. I'm waiting at home, calling Don's cell phone again and again, not getting through, pacing, staring out the window at the white cloud that is all that is left of the two buildings. After what seems like an eternity, but is really only about 45 minutes, the buzzer buzzes and I hear Sam's voice. We're both here. Sam plays Diablo silently and intensely for most of the afternoon, eyes riveted to the computer screen, while I wander back and forth between the television with its ghostly image, my computer, and my view of the smoke-filled sky. As I walk north on Broadway this morning, where the street angles sharply by Grace Church, I notice the Empire State Building up ahead. It suddenly seems isolated and vulnerable in its height. Last night I discovered that the phones were working again. I called friends I hadn't been able to reach. I talked for hours. Then I was too wired to sleep, and the clock kept ticking. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. At night, huge floodlights illuminate the area of the World Trade Center, and the cloud of smoke becomes an eerie specter, blown dangerously by the north wind toward my windows, enveloping me, poisoning me. When I wake, it seems oddly dispersed. I'm on the train to New Jersey. It moves slowly. It lurches to a stop here and there. It stalls. I'm nervous. I really want to know why the train is stopping. On my way to Penn Station, I find myself at Union Square. I had heard about the memorial there and glimpsed it on my fuzzy, staticky TV screen, but I wasn't prepared for the scale and force of the sentiment expressed. I'm comforted by the calls for peace and tolerance and caring. Grateful that I'm not alone in my opposition to military retaliation and revenge. Tanya and I caught the 10 o'clock bus to Port Jervis yesterday. It's a relief, but also disquieting to be out in the country, where life goes on as before. The trees are starting to change color and the air is refreshing. Without a television or radio, I find myself anxious in a way I never was before about needing to be informed. I wonder what new knowledge they have of the attacks, or if we're at war yet. I enjoy being with the family again. Sam and Tanya seem to be keeping to themselves. I want to believe that they're okay. They're teenagers after all. But how will this experience affect their future? And what exactly did Sam see? I take a solitary walk in the cool mist this morning, trees outlined against a white background. I'm tired because I haven't slept. I see images of the tower blowing up before my eyes. I'm afraid of the long-term effects on my city and my life. We drive back in mid-morning, nervous about returning to our neighborhood, stopping first to load up at the grocery store. After watching the World Trade Center burst into flames and collapse and disintegrate before my very eyes, I questioned the art I had made or been making up until that point. Where's the place for art in all this destruction? I wake at 5 a.m. to a lightning storm. Flashes of light, loud explosions of thunder, run to the window to scan the sky for bombs, and realizing that it's only a rainstorm, fall gradually into a fitful sleep. Margaret comes over and I show her the unedited tape. We watch in fascination and horror as the towers explode and burn, as flames leap in and out of the gaping hole, while the smoke billows away to the east, as the second building falls in a matter of seconds, without any apparent warning. Dazed, we decide to see how close we can get to the site. Broadway is filled with people like us, gaping and taking pictures, videotaping, and others simply walking. I walk back and forth a few times across the same street in order to get a shot. It's difficult to see because of the angle and the buildings and the trucks and the fences and the crowds, but the horror defies comprehension. A part of me just can't believe that this pile of twisted metal is all that's left of those two massive buildings. I see the shell of one of the towers, standing there like a ghostly reminder. Smoke rises from the pile of debris, drifting towards us. The smell hovers in the air, making it difficult to breathe. The day is warm, and we decide to take a trip on the Staten Island ferry. There isn't much of a crowd on the boat today, and we have no trouble finding an optimum perch. We chat and catch up on our lives against an altered skyline, which recedes and then reappears with the same emptiness on the return trip. Strangely, I find myself unable to picture the exact location of the towers. On the trip downtown, we stopped and bought copies of postcards from sellers on street corners. I hold one up to remember how the skyline looked less than 2 weeks ago. Back at the loft, Sam comes home, and I ask him to tell Margaret his experience of the attack. He has not been forthcoming, and I realize I haven't heard it myself. He doesn't elaborate, but he tells us how he watched the buildings burn from his classroom window, how they finally directed the students to leave from the north exit after the first building collapsed, how he ran into Don after he turned the corner onto West Street, and they walked home together amid the chaos and the debris. He excuses himself immediately and goes back to his game, but later he says to me, "I'll be able to tell my children I was there." It's hard to believe 2 weeks have already passed. The moon has been growing steadily larger, and tonight it is over half full. The moon is more visible in the sky now because the towers used to block much of its trajectory. I turn off the lights so I can watch the moon and the smoke, which is wafting up to the east now. Thank goodness the wind turned, because this afternoon it was blowing north, and the air was again full of that burning, sickening smell. Burning what? Burning bodies? The kids were off from school today, and I suggested we go to the Met. For once they didn't protest, and we dressed up and took a long subway ride uptown, away from our neighborhood and the smell and the smoke. The museum was quiet and nearly empty, and as we wandered randomly, from sculpture to architecture to painting, across civilizations and history, my faith in our ability to create beauty was restored. And I was able to answer my question: why make art? The sky is a brilliant blue this morning. The column of smoke has finally disappeared. I'm sitting at my computer and staring at the space where the World Trade Center used to be, at the clear and empty sky. And if I stare long and hard enough, my mind recreates the vista of burning, exploding buildings. Clouds of white dust and smoke. I turn away, but the image remains. This afternoon, as I'm trying to work, the sun streaming in through the window dazzles and blinds me. I can't look at the screen anymore. I have to shield my eyes and leave my desk. I don't remember this happening before. The towers must have blocked the sun at this angle, too. I'm revising the details of my existence.